But even the place itself, this Dham, Braj Bhumi, and its lilas talis, and even its dust, this Goduli and Brajaduli, it's all very special and purifying. Not only because of the saints, the saints that live here, they're experiencing and tasting the Madhurya Ras. But it depends. But that Ras, it depends on being at the level of prema. You have to be at the level of prema to experience it. So these different factors. So being here is a great contribution to have an access to that rasa. So anyone, when they're living in Vrindavan, as much as possible, they should visit and or live in, if they're interested in Radha and Krishna, and loving and serving Radha and Krishna eternally in Vrindavan, in their Siddha Sarup, especially as a manjari, then they should live in Radhakund. That's the best place. Or somewhere in Vrindavan and absorb and visit. If you're in Vrindavan, then spend your majority of your time and then bring the books of Madhurya Leela with you, sit in those places and chant and read and pray and cry and roll in the dust and embrace all little twisty trees and pray to the monkeys and squirrels and everybody you see over there, Brahmins and Pandas, to bless you with a drop of Madhurya. Because Nidhiban is dripping with Madhurya like Krishna's body. Rase tano dhara dhara. Rase tano dhara dhara. So Nidhiban rase tara. Rase dhara dhara. Not tano, but Nidhiban, Sevakunj, Imlitala, Shrinkarbat, Govindagat, Dhir Shamira, Vamshivat, Panagat. But really Madhurya Leela, the pinnacle of Madhurya Leela, which is inviting everyone to enter into and offering itself to everyone, and even the lowest of sinners, the most degraded of people, those that are full of lust, Ridrogam kamam ridrogam. Viranoti Chirak. It says in the 10th chapter of Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 10, verse 33, chapter 33, verse 39, is saying ridrogam. It says, even if someone ridrogam, kamam ridrogam, if someone has the heart disease, rog means disease, rogi, bogi, and yogi. Prabhupada used to say that. A yogi controls his senses, a bogi doesn't control his senses, and a rogi can't use his senses because he's sick. So a rogi is a dysfunctional bogi. If you want to put it in modern terms, rogi means disease. Vyadi, I'm sick. So when you're sick, you can't smell. My nose is snapped up, I can't smell. And you can't hear. What do you say? And you don't feel like talking. Your voice doesn't work. So you're like this. So here, these places, when we're here, we spend our maximum time there. Take Krishna, Bhavanasara Sangra. It's in English. Govinda Lilamrita, Krishna Bhavanamrita, Krishna Kumudi. If you only read English, you read Hindi, and there's so many books. And go to these places that I mentioned. Maybe a few more I forgot. I think I got most. And then you sit there, and the place itself is full of Madhurya Leela. It's full of Parakya Bhav. It's full of Kripa. Radharani comes to Vamshivat every day. She comes there and dances there and goes to Dhirashmir and goes along Yamuna Pulina. So I never heard she went to Loy Bazaar. I never heard she went to Madhavan Colony. I never heard she went to Chaitanya Vihar. I never heard she went to Raman Reti. Show me anywhere, any Shastra. I've read all the Shastras. I've not seen one mention about a Radha Krishna pastime in Raman Reti. Ask you have so many Rasic Janas that are your Sadhu Sangha. I never read. At least in our Gaudiya Shastras. Maybe there's Hitari Vamsh or others they tell. But it's not like that. Of course, ultimately every inch of Vrindavan is a Madhurya Leela Stali, every place is a Kunja and like that. But what's revealed to us, what is known to us, what has been revealed by Bhugarva Goswami, Lokanath, and Nimbarkachari and all others, and you see, wherever the Gaudiyas are, the Nimbarkis are. Because Nimbarkis also, they worship Radha and Krishna and Sakhi Bhav. So they're all gathered around Vrindavan. Nidhiman Seva Kunj there, that. And all the Gaudiyas. But Gaudiya is a special place, is Radhakund, because Nimbark doesn't know about Radhakund. Nimbarkacharya didn't discover this place. He didn't come here. He has no sitting place here at all. But Mahaprabhu, this is the gift to Mahaprabhu. This is a gift to Mahaprabhu, to the Acharya. This is a gift of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu discovered it, and who did he give it to? He gave it to the Mandri Bhav Guru, Raghunath Das. And Raghunath Das sat here and produced books about Mandri Bhav Upasana. Upasana means how to worship in the mood of a Mandri. Stavavali. Avali means a group of, a series of, a collection of. Stava means prayers. Stavavali. The most famous one is Vilap Kutsamanjali. It's all about Radha's Seva and Radha's Bhav and the mood of a Mandri. Radharani, one day she says, "Oh Mandri, why don't you become my Sakhi? You become like Lita. You become so close to me. Like you'll become, I have Astasakhi, now we'll have Navasakhi. Navasakhi. No Sakhi. We'll have like Navavida Bhakti, we'll have 9 Sakhis. You'll be my closest Sakhi." And Rati Mandri, Tulsi Mandri, Das Goswami folds, "Oh Radharani, oh Swamini, oh Ishwari, Nechaye. I offer all respects. I offer all respects to being your Sakhi. I offer all respects and I appreciate your offer. I'm very grateful and thankful. You're offering me to be your Sakhi. But I fold my hands and I fall at your feet. I only want to be your maidservant. Ami Radha Pada Dasi. Ami Radha Pada Dasi. I am a servant of your lotus feet. I don't want anything else. I appreciate the offer, but no thanks. I want my..." So these kind of verses are there. So they this is what we call developing Gopi Bhav. Because the real thing is Bhav. If you have Gopi Bhav, the emphasis is Gopi Bhav. You develop the Bhav, then the body is automatic. This is the principle. First Bhav, then body. First thinking, then action. Think, feel, will. You think, "Oh, yeah, India. Oh, an interesting place. Maybe I'll go there." Then you read and, "Yeah, I feel like going there. Yeah, I really feel like it." "You feel like going to India?" "No, I don't feel like going." "You want to go?" "Yeah, I'll go. You want to go?" "Okay, we'll go." You feel, I feel, we go. So willing. So this thinking is bhav, the feeling, the thinking. So how does that come inside one? How does one get that bhav? You can go to some guru, "May I have a siddhadeya?" "Oh, here's your siddhadeya. Your manjari name is so-and-so, and your age is so-and-so, and your varna, and your vasan, and your seva, and your kunja, and your..." all these things. "Okay, now, that's nice. Okay, now what?" "I'll go to sleep." But if you have bhav is, that's part of the process, siddha pranali. But one may receive siddha pranali, but that's the form, but you need the bhav. You have to fill up that form with the bhav, because if you die with only knowing that you're Manjari Srup, but you don't have Manjari Bhav, and you're not on the level of prema, then no success. So the key point is developing the bhav. Like the Rishicharis, it's described in 10th canto of Bhagavatam, and also in Padma Puran and the commentaries of Brahmanda Puran. In Brahmanda Puran, they tell their own story, the Shruticharis, how the Shruticharis became gopis. There from millions of years ago, the Vedas and the Shrutis, they said, "We followed the bhav of the manjaris." They didn't receive siddha pranali. No, they didn't. They're not coming in by the mercy. They didn't receive the mercy of Gauranga Mahaprabhu or Nityananda, or coming. They're not Gaudiya Vaishnavas. They were living millions of years ago. The Shrutis, the Vedic Shrutis, they heard descriptions of Narada Muni and others about the gopis. They became captivated by the exchanges, the love, the feelings, and they said, "Oh, we want to be gopis. How do we be gopis?" And they said, "Oh, you cultivate gopi bhav." So they cultivated gopi bhav. Then they appeared in Krishna's lila as sadhana siddha gopis. They did their sadhana. Their sadhana was cultivating the bhav. How, it's not described. It just said, we followed the bhav. The Sanskrit verses say, we followed the bhav of the gopis. But we know how to follow the bhav. Anugatya. Anugatya means follow. We know how to follow. We know how to cultivate. And Das Goswami gave us the way. So we read these shlokas of Radharas Sudhanidhi. Radharas Sudhanidhi has about 40 or 50, have 40 shlokas that are only about manjaris and kinkaris, and about 60 shlokas that can be taken to be just regular sakhis or regular or manjaris. And so that's 60 and 40, that's 100. And the other half of the book, or 160, is only about sakhis and sakhi bhav, because the author has two swarups. One is Tungavidya Sakhi, and one is a manjari. So but then Stavavali, Raghunath Das Goswami, all of Raghunath Das Goswami's writings, practically, are saturated with Gopi Bhav. So you read over and over again, Govinda Lilamrita exchanges Tulsi Manjari, Rati Manjari, how they speak, how they laugh, how they act, and